There's a rumor going around. If you like this video and subscribe, you will inherit one for all. Hi guys, this is the next part of What If Itachi Uchiha Was Reincarnated in the World of Fairy Tale. I hope you enjoy. Now you've done it. You've made me angry. Itachi growled at Azuma as he gently put Mira Jane and Lizana down. The black markings kept growing across his face and his Sharingan let out a blood-red glow. Azuma began sweating and shook a little from all this dark energy and pressure Itachi was releasing. What is this energy? A Mo monster? Azuma stuttered with wide eyes. Itachi vanished from the spot where he stood and Azuma flinched as Itachi was right in front of him. I didn't even see him move, Azuma thought as he jumped back and swung his arm to the side as the area around Itachi erupted in a fiery explosion. The thick smoke gathered around Itachi. Itachi leapt through the smoke, unharmed with only his clothes slightly torn. Itachi swung his fist at an incredible speed towards Azuma, who desperately tied Itachi's body up in tree roots. Itachi narrowed his eyes, and then widened while flexing his muscles a bit. The roots broken, Itachi slammed his fist into Azuma's gut, making him vomit out blood. Azuma was sent flying back with his clothes torn around his six-pack, which revealed a bruise in the shape of Itachi's fist. Such strength, Azuma uttered weakly as he tried to regain his breath. Itachi then appeared behind him. He grabbed Azuma at the back of his head and slammed it into a tree that broke in half upon impact. Itachi threw Azuma into the air and slammed his fist into his chest, sending him flying through tree after tree. Azuma was on his knees, after having crashed through 10 trees and dragged up the ground beneath him. Currently he was backed up against a rock. He was bruised up and had a cut over his forehead and had blood running down over his right eye. Ah, my ribs, it feels like he broke almost all of them. Azuma widened his eyes in horror as he saw Itachi's feet on the ground in front of him. He looked up and trembled at the monster of a man in front of him that just glared. Azuma, in a desperate attempt, waved his arms to the side as yellow lights blinked around Itachi and then erupted in a fiery explosion. Itachi's arm then flew out from the explosion and grabbed Azuma's face. Itachi immediately sent out a surge of energy around him, blowing the smoke away. Then Itachi lifted up Azuma and slammed him into the rock, shattering it to pieces. Azuma directed his arms at him and multiple tree roots popped up from the ground and crashed into Itachi, sending him flying back. Then multiple lights blinked around Itachi and released a massive explosion. Suddenly all the tree roots that held Itachi back cracked up and shattered into pieces. Itachi was standing on the side of a tree and glared at Azuma. He jumped from the tree that shattered to pieces and flew at Azuma at an unbelievable speed. Azuma quickly backed away as Itachi crashed into the ground where he once stood. When Itachi crashed into the ground, he formed a crater. Itachi stood up and looked at Azuma, who was panting and looked heavily injured. Itachi couldn't believe this power he was feeling. He had given into the black energy just because he needed the speed to reach Mira and Lizana in time to save them. Even now he was struggling to make sure he stayed conscious and not let the black energy take over completely. Itachi's body began to release the black aura around him, intensely. His muscles increased while the black markings grew slowly around his entire body. Azuma looked at Itachi with a slight hint of fear. He hadn't felt this much power from anyone besides Master Hades. Although this energy Itachi was releasing felt even more powerful than Hades, he needed to get out of here or else he would die. Despite his wish to fight strong opponents, he knew he didn't stand a chance against this monster of a man. So far he had been dominated through the entire fight. He hadn't managed to injure Itachi whatsoever, only tear up his clothes a bit and nothing more. Itachi charged at Azuma, who managed to raise his hand and had a massive tree fist crash into Itachi, who simply flew through it like it was nothing. Bleb. Azuma sent a massive explosion in front of him, blasting Itachi. Itachi easily flew through the explosion with no injuries on his body. He swung his fist into Azuma's cheek, sending him flying to the side far away from Mira Jane and Lizana. Azuma quickly recovered and raised his arms up in the air. Tower burst. A massive pillar of fire exploded around him and Itachi, yet it did not seem to affect Itachi as he just pushed through the explosion with his clothes getting more torn, tearing off the area around his torso. Azuma quickly ensnared Itachi in all the roots he could and then slammed his hands together. Take this, my mightiest attack. Azuma gathered up all the magic stored within the earth around him. DISCLAIMER. The roots around Itachi erupted into a massive destructive explosion. The sphere of destruction expanded, but the explosion did not reach Mira Jane and Lizana. Azuma panted and his body was shaking as that last attack drained him out massively. Azuma widened his eyes in shock as Itachi stood there with only small bruises around his body and his entire shirt was torn away revealing his bare upper body. There's no way. He's barely suffered any damage. What is he? Azuma questioned and backed up slightly. What are you? I'm Itachi Uchiha of Fairy Tail. Itachi said with a cold expression. Azuma clenched his fist and threw a punch right into Itachi's cheek. But to his surprise Itachi didn't even flinch. Itachi grabbed Azuma's wrist and squeezed it like a tube of toothpaste in a matter of seconds. Hard. Azuma cried out in pain. Itachi threw a punch sending Azuma flying to the other side of the island. Itachi was about to go after him, but then, Itachi grunted as he fell to his knees. He struggled to not lose himself to the black energy. He gritted his teeth and the black marking began to retract. The black markings retracted slowly away to the center of his chest until they were completely gone and the black aura faded. Itachi panted and sweated feeling his body and limbs throbbing in pain. Itachi got up and walked back to Mira Jane and Lizana. With Azuma had almost flown off the edge of the island, his body in immense pain, his right arm crushed looking like a used tube of toothpaste. He used his magic to gather tree roots around his injured arm to create a wooden one. His body was bruised up and he had a few cuts with blood stains all over his clothing. That man, Itachi, he is a monster, I've never been this injured before. Azuma gained a smirk and began laughing madly. With Itachi arrived at the location of the two Strauss sisters. Mira was unconscious and heavily injured and Lizana cried as she held her older sister in her arms. Mira, Lizana. Itachi fell into the crater where the two sisters were. Lizana instantly rushed to him and brought him closer to Mira. She's unconscious, but she will be fine. What happened to that dark mage? Lizana questioned. I sent him flying across the island. Whether he is dead or not remains to be seen. Itachi replied and gently rubbed his hand up against the unconscious Mira Jane's cheek. I'm just glad you're both safe. What is that black energy you used anyway? Lizana asked as she looked a little worried seeing that Itachi was hurting as a side effect of using this energy. That's what I've been trying to find out. When I use it, it feels like I'm being dragged into a dark space. I can't breathe, I can barely keep consciousness. It was as if something was trying to take over. I'm thinking the reasons for the toll my body took from using it is a result of me struggling against it. As I used the aura before back in Edelus against my other self, that was the first time I discovered it. Itachi replied. Why did you discover it first then? Did something happen in Edelus that made you get this? Lizana questioned. No, it's most likely been sleeping dormant inside me since the beginning. When I fought my other self I struggled to bring out more energy despite not having anything left. That's when it came out, and now that I know that it's there I'm trying to find out how to control it and to find out if it's dangerous or not. Itachi got up and lifted Mira up bridal style. Come on, let's set the camp back up. She needs to rest. What about you? Lizana asked and supported Itachi up a bit. I will be fine, I have something in my right pocket that could help. Itachi said and Lizana reached into his pocket and brought out a bag with 4 pills in them. What's this? Lizana asked as she looked at the pills. 2 were blue, the other 2 were green. Ninja pills. 2 of them are chakra replenishing pills, the blue ones. The other 2 green ones are medical. I gave Perliuzica a recipe on how to make them, they are commonly used in my homeland. Itachi replied. Then I will just give one of these green ones to you and Mira and you will be fine. Lizana questioned. Give one to Mira, I don't need it. Just give me the chakra replenishing one. We might have others who will eventually need that one. Give me both the chakra replenishing pills, I'm the only one they will be of use to anyway. Itachi said and Lizana was hesitant on not giving the green pill to Itachi, he was strong and they needed him at 100% for this. But in the end she sighed and gave him the 2 blue pills. How will I feed this to Mira? She's unconscious after all, Lizana said. Itachi took the pill and picked up a bottle of water that was left from the destroyed camp. He placed the pill in his mouth and filled it with water. He then leaned over Mira and placed his lips over hers, forcing the pill down as a small trail of water ran down from Mira's lips. Seeing this caused Lizana to blush slightly. There, that should do it. It will take maybe an hour until she's fully healed. Itachi took the chakra replenishing pill and slowly felt his chakra returning. I will go out and see if there is anyone else that needs help. Itachi said and jumped away into the forest. With Itachi's clone Wendy, Panther Lily, Happy and Charles showed up, and right now Wendy was in the middle of healing Natsu and she had already tried to heal Makarov. She looked exhausted as she was running low on magic power. Are you okay, Wendy? Itachi asked the little dragon slayer. I'm fine. But why doesn't my healing magic work on either of them? Wendy questioned. It looks like the master's injuries are too severe. I don't think even sky magic can heal them, Charles said. What about Natsu? Happy questioned in concern for his friend. I'm not sure about him. I can only think something is keeping him from healing, Charles said. Natsu, master, Happy cried. Hey Happy, why is Natsu's scarf suddenly black? Itachi asked, noticing that the pink-haired dragon slayer's usually white scarf had turned black. We met a strange man who was crying. He released some sort of black magic sphere on Natsu and his scarf turned black. Happy replied. Strange, the scarf is now filled with a type of energy that feels like death. That sphere was meant to kill Natsu, but the scarf seems to have absorbed the attack somehow. Itachi thought with a narrowed gaze. Igneel gave Natsu that scarf, so he was really upset after he noticed it turned black. Happy said. Did this happen after I knocked him off the top? Itachi asked. Yeah, a few minutes later. The guy attacked Elfman and Evergreen, Natsu saved them. Happy replied. What did this guy look like? Itachi asked. He had black hair and he was dressed in a black outfit with a white toga thing around his torso. Why, do you know him? Happy replied. Itachi widened his eyes a little. It couldn't be the one Commander Itachi mentioned, the man with black hair dressed in black. Wendy, Makarov uttered. Master, did you find us? Yes. Never mind me, just help Natsu. Makarov uttered weakly before closing his eyes. No, I will figure something out. I will help you both somehow. Wendy declared. Natsu's scarf, can you return it to normal? Makarov muttered. His scarf? Wendy questioned. The malevolence that has stained Natsu's scarf is hindering his ability to heal, Makarov said. I'll try. Wendy instantly began to use her magic on the scarf. Hey, do you guys think this man who did this to Natsu is the Zirf grimoire Heart is looking for? Panther Lily questioned. I think so, yes. Itachi replied. Zirf, the Black Wizard, is he the reason I am here in the first place? Itachi thought. The grimoire Heart's 7 kin of purgatory, all-powerful mages and some of the most wanted mages there are. Each one of them should be at least S-class level. So far we have defeated one of the 7 kin, well 2 if my original has finished off the one who fought Mira Jane. There's also the one goat man dressed in a suit that dropped all those Grimoire Heart members around the island. Itachi closed his right eye to see if he could find the other 7 kin members through his crows. He saw Erza and Juvia fighting against a little girl with pink hair and green eyes, wearing a red cape with the Grimoire Heart mark on the shoulder, and a golden head accessory. He saw Elfman and Evergreen fighting against a young man with silver hair dressed in a dark coat with a furry collar and wearing black sunglasses. And then he saw Gray, Lucy, Loki, and Kanna fighting against the goat man. And a beautiful pale-skinned woman with a voluptuous figure with long dark purple hair reaching her back, and her eyes were black. She was wearing a skin-tight battle outfit, and she had red lipstick. She was carrying the man whom Happy described, which they assumed was Zirf, which considering how well she tended to him was true. He spotted the man that fought against Mira. He looked very injured and now had roots wrapped around his right arm. And then he spotted a big fat man with white skin and messy black hair. He was wearing a black cape and some shorts. He also heard them talk about something called the Grand Magic World, a world where those who had magic ruled and those who didn't died. That would be troublesome since only 10% of the population could use magic. I must give this information to the original. Itachi thought. Wendy, I will be back. But I need the original to get this information. Itachi said as he vanished in a puff of smoke. With the original Itachi regained the memories from his clone and got all the information. I see, so that's their plan. Itachi uttered and formed a hand seal. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Itachi formed 3 clones that spread out in different directions. Meanwhile, Evergreen and Elfman fought against a man named Rusty Rose of the 7 kin of Grimoire Heart. Elfman had removed Rusty Rose's sunglasses so that Evergreen could turn him to stone, however it failed. Rusty Rose knocked out Evergreen. Elfman screamed, all bruised up and injured. Not even your portrayal of 2 lovers was able to make my pieces quiver in the slightest. That was quite an enjoyable act, though. Rusty Rose straightened his glasses and Elfman widened his eyes in shock. Your glasses. But I'm sure I had. My magic is that of imagination, the arc of embodiment. It gives shape to anything I want. Rusty Rose formed multiple sunglasses that floated around him. That's ridiculous, Evergreen uttered. The embodiment of wishes is linked to the root of sorcery. Of course, it does come with several restrictions and limitations, though. Unmatched, undefeated magic. To this day, it hasn't once been overcome. Rusty Rose bragged. Let's change that, shall we? A new voice appeared behind Rusty Rose, who turned around swiftly to see a pair of red eyes with 3 black tomos staring at him. Unlike Evergreen, my eyes work against a person regardless if they wear glasses or not. Now sleep in your worst nightmare. Itachi cast a genjutsu over Rusty Rose. In the very next second, Rusty Rose moved back, and began to look scared. What is this? What's happening to me? No, what are you? Get away from me! Exclamation mark. Why doesn't my magic work? Arg. No. Rusty Rose screamed in intense pain as his body was shaking in fear. He fell to his knees and fell down unconscious. You guys alright? Itachi turned to Elfman and Evergreen. Yeah, we're fine. Thanks, you saved us. Elfman thanked with a smirk. I would like to know what you showed that bastard that made him feel so scared. Whatever it was, it's too good for him. Evergreen said while staring in rage at Rusty Rose. Well, the Magic Council is not far away. We can hand him over along with the rest later once we have taken care of the rest of the 7 kin. Itachi said and helped up Elfman. I will take you to base camp so that you can rest up. How's Lizana and Nei-chan? Elfman asked. They were attacked by a member of the 7 kin. Mira got injured, but I managed to help them out just in time. Itachi replied. Thanks, man. You are a true man, Itachi. Elfman praised. Itachi smiled. Come on, we got a long walk ahead of us. Meanwhile, back with Wendy and the others. One of Itachi's clones arrived. Itachi-san, Wendy said with a smile. Itachi looked around and saw that neither Natsu nor Happy were there anymore. Where's Natsu and Happy? Itachi asked. He said he smelled someone he met before and rushed off to fight, and Happy followed him. Charles replied with a huff over how brutish Natsu was. Whatever, I will take you all to base camp. I'll take the master, follow after me. I assume that the 2 of you are fast enough to keep up. Itachi looked at the 2 exceeds. Yes, if we fly. Panther Lily replied. Good. Charles, carry Wendy and follow after me to base camp. Itachi picked up the master and leapt towards base camp at immense speed. Charles lifted up Wendy and she and Panther Lily flew after Itachi. Meanwhile, with Itachi's 3rd clone, Erza and Juvia together are definitely enough for that girl from 7 kin. That goat man is a celestial spirit judging by the energy I saw from him, although there was a human energy within him as well. If he fights Loki, Gray, Kana and Lucy, I'm sure they can do it. Besides, as a clone with not that much power, there's not much I can do. But there's someone who needs my help now. Itachi thought as he leapt down from a tree branch and landed in front of Levi, whom was supporting an injured Gajil. I assume you ran into Grimoire Heart. Itachi, Levi uttered. I will help you guys get back to base camp. I will carry him for you. Itachi said and supported Gajil up, but Levi still did the same. I will carry him too. Let's go, it's not that far, right? Levi asked as they began moving. No, it's not that far ahead. Itachi replied as they kept moving. Meanwhile, with the real Itachi. I'm confident in my friend's abilities, however, there is something that requires my attention, Zirf. Itachi thought with his Sharingan activated, searching for the black wizard and that woman that was with him. Back, at base camp, Itachi and Levi had managed to bring Gajil back to base. At the moment Gajil and Mira were resting while Levi and Lizana watched over them. They will both be just fine, however they both have taken my last medical pills. Lucky Gajil was a little awake so that he could chew it himself. Anyway, now there isn't much we can do other than to wait for them to heal. Itachi said. Still, Gajil being overwhelmed and Mira being defeated, Levi uttered. It's all my fault. Lizana cried over her sister. It ain't anyone's fault. Elfman, Evergreen and Itachi's 2nd clone arrived. Elf Nichan, they're strong, I hate to admit it, but they're too strong. Way too strong, Elfman uttered. They might be strong, but we're still standing. And as long as we stand and fight, there's still hope. All we need to do is fight together. So far as I can see with my crows, 3 of the 7 kin have been defeated. Zancro, Capricorn, and Rusty Rose have been defeated. Erza and Juvia are fighting a girl named Melody of the 7 kin. Azuma, the one I beat up, is still alive and walking but is heavily injured, and my original is on his way to fight against another member, the one Natsu is already fighting. There's one more member of the 7 kin out there, plus their guild master Hades. We're not done yet. Fairy Tail is not done yet. And, I can already see reinforcements coming back. Itachi smirked. With his crow he could see a ship returning with 3 certain people on board. So, you guys just rest up and join the battle when you're all ready. We will take care of the rest. The 2 Itachi clones vanished in a puff of smoke. And then the 3rd Itachi clone arrived with the master in his arms. We need a new bed, the master is heavily injured. Itachi gently placed the master down on the futon next to Gajeel. And shortly after Wendy, Charl and Panther Lily arrived. Gee Gajeel. Lily rushed up to his partner. Even the master was taken out, Levi uttered. Remember what the other clones said, there's still hope. Itachi said with a smile as he vanished in a puff of smoke. With Rusty Rose, what happened? I only remember red eyes and then a monster. Is that so? A new voice was heard. Rusty Rose widened his eyes in pain as he could see an arm sticking out from his chest holding onto a beating heart that was being examined by black tentacles. What the? He turned around to face his attacker and saw a tall tan-skinned man wearing a mask covering the lower half of his face and a sweatband around his forehead with his black hair sticking out from it. He looked into those green emotionless eyes in horror. Lost magic arc of embodiment, and what nature type are you? Wind. Perfect. The masked man said and pulled the heart out from Rusty Rose's chest making him fall over dead. This will be a fine addition to my collection. The masked man revealed to be Kakuzu opened up a spot on his chest and placed the heart in, mixing it up with black tentacles and then one of the masks on his back moved. That makes 5. Now then to gather the bounties. Maybe I can get some bounties off these fairy tale wizards as well, especially that salamander he's highly wanted in the underworld, for all the destruction he's caused for dark guilds. I wonder, who else of the 7 kin and grimoire heart can I gather, not to mention those of fairy tale. Crows, Itachi, damn this is going to be troublesome. He might have a high bounty on his head, but then again, I can't such a shame, it was a good bounty too. Well with the 7 kin and maybe even Hades I will get 5 times as much as I would have off Itachi, and with Salamander even more than that. Kakuzu grabbed Rusty Rose's corpse and threw it over his shoulder. First things first, get him on board the boat. With Itachi leapt from tree branch to tree branch. He spotted Natsu getting smashed by what looked like a barrage of crystal balls. Natsu backflipped to Happy. Natsu, hang in there, Happy said. Quit freaking out, it isn't hurting me at all. Natsu said, I still owe you for our Galuna Island encounter. Defeating you instantly wouldn't be very fun. Will you entertain me a little longer? The woman said sadistically. Man, you're way tougher than before. Natsu smirked with his face covered in bruise marks. I wasn't even using half of my power then, I'll have you know. The woman said when suddenly she leapt back as a kunai stabbed the ground in front of her. I will be taking Zirf, I have a few questions for him. Itachi leapt down in front of Natsu. You're the one who defeated Jalal in the Tower of Heaven, the woman said as her crystal ball levitated next to her. And your former council member Ultear Milkovich, the daughter of Ul, Gray's former teacher. Looks like you were really a member of 7 kin all along. Itachi said with his eyes narrowed at her and his Sharingan glowing. Oh, you've done your homework. Yes, I am a member of 7 kin, or to better put it I'm the leader. And I know who you are as well, Itachi Uchiha or better known as, Itachi the Element Master, Fairy Tail's new ace, but your most famous title is this, the Demon Eyes of Fairy Tail. Rumor even has it that you could have been a wizard saint but you turned it down. Truly, it's an honor. However, I will not let you have Zirf. He's the one who will bring about my salvation. The woman known as Ultear declared with a crazed grin. Hey, Itachi, back away, this guy's mine. Natsu shouted. Natsu, we don't have time to argue. I will take care of her. Itachi said. No way, I found him first. Natsu shouted. Why do you call her him? She's clearly a woman. Itachi pointed out. No, I fought him on Galuna Island and he was a guy wearing a woman's perfume. Natsu said. Like I said, this is my true form. Ultear shouted in the background. Natsu, she must have used some transformation magic. This is the real deal, she's a she. Itachi tried to explain it to the Dragon Slayer. I don't get what you're saying. Natsu only looked confused. Never mind. Itachi's sweat dropped and turned back to face Ultear. I will give you one chance. Hand Zirf over and surrender. I don't think so. Ultear sent out her crystal ball that divided into multiple crystal balls that charged at Itachi. Itachi performed a set of hand seals. Fire style. Phoenix flower. Itachi spit out multiple balls of fire towards the crystal balls. Ultear smirked and raised her hand and the fireballs turned into steam. What the? Itachi leapt back, dodging the crystal balls. Lost magic, arc of time. Elemental attacks are worthless against me, I just send them into the future or past. Ultear declared with a vicious grin. I see, a magic that affects objects but not living objects, for if that were the case you could have used it on Natsu easily and end the fight and take Zirf away. That gives me a good idea on what to do. Itachi said as Ultear glared at him. Itachi threw a kunai towards her. Ultear then used her crystal ball to deflect it. You're analyzing my magic, huh? HN. Itachi morphed his eyes into Mangekyo Sharingan and had a spectral skeleton form around him. Your magic will have no effect on this as it has no past nor future, plus it's a part of me and living. Itachi said as the Susanoo formed a normal spectral sword. I should not use the Totsuka blade in this situation, I might need some information from her later on. Itachi thought and swung down the blade that Ultear quickly dodged. She sent a barrage of crystal balls at the spectral skeleton but they all shattered into pieces. Tell me, since you had a thing to do with the Tower of Heaven, I assume you're the so-called ghost of Zirf that manipulated Jalal. And how did you figure that out? Ultear questioned with a narrowed gaze. The fact that you stayed so close to Jalal during his time of evil doing gives it away. He could of course just have recruited you, but then you would have possibly rescued him from prison by now. I came to the conclusion that you and Grimoire Heart were involved. Besides, you strike me as the manipulating type. Itachi replied. Jalal was right, you are clever, cleverly annoying. Ultear shouted in rage and Itachi saw something that shocked him, her eyes turned red. That can't be, that energy her eyes give off and that circle in pattern, first stage of Sharingan. Itachi thought in shock and was interrupted when Natsu suddenly charged at Ultear. I said this guy's mine. Natsu charged and suddenly Lucy fell from a cliff and the white fat guy from the Seven Kin fell in front of Natsu's attack and got kicked in the side of his face. Wah, Natsu. Itachi. Lucy said with joy. Lucy, what are you doing here? Natsu questioned. Likewise, but I'm alive thanks to you. Lucy thanked Natsu. Lucy came hurling from that way. All lame like. Happy laughed. Is there a cool way of hurtling through the air? Lucy glared at the blue cat in annoyance. Kane, what are you doing here? Ultear asked the big sumo wrestler of a man. Ultear-san, I nearly finished that girl off. Kane pointed at Lucy. Were the two of you fighting her? Lucy questioned. It's my fight, back away. Natsu said while glaring at Ultear. I don't want her. Lucy's sweat dropped. She's really tough. Even Natsu's having a hard time against her. Happy said. I'm not. I'm going to defeat her. Natsu declared. You were losing to her, and you won't be able to win. Her magic nullifies all your attacks since you use elemental-based magic. I'm the best option here. Itachi deactivated his Susanoo and glared at Ultear. Tell me, who was your father? Huh, what are you on about? Ultear questioned in confusion. Tell me who your father was, now. Itachi demanded. I don't know, I never met the man, he left me and my mother before I was even born. Ultear replied, not seeming very interested in the subject. She must at least have told you his name. Give me his name. Itachi narrowed his eyes. She might have, so what? Why do you even care? Ultear questioned. Just tell me. Itachi demanded. I don't feel like it. Ultear smirked. Ooh way. Ultear-san, you needn't trouble yourself with these guys. I can handle them all by myself. Kane said. I leave them to you, then. I do need to take Zirf to Master Hades anyway. Ultear said, not taking her eyes off Itachi. Oh, you've already found him. Kane clapped his hands. This is bad, Natsu. We can't let them have Zirf. Some terrible grand magic world thingy will happen. Lucy said to the pink-haired dragon slayer. He still has to pay for messing with my scarf. I won't let her take him. Not before I beat him up. Natsu charged at her and Itachi followed. Dodoskoi. Kane appeared before Natsu and slammed his palm into him, sending him flying back, while Itachi ducked from the blow and advanced towards Ultear. Ice Make. Rosen Krona. Ultear sent giant roses and spiked branches made out of ice at Itachi, sending the Uchiha flying back as Kane stepped in front of them. Listen. Do not hold anything back. Show them how formidable the Seven Kin are. When you're in the mood, no one is a match for you. Ultear said. Ooh way. I won't let you down, Ultear-san. I know how to get things done. Kane said as Ultear ran away with Zirf. Get out of my way. Itachi narrowed his eyes, glaring at Kane. I will go after her. Lucy said, but was stopped dead in her tracks. What are you doing, Lucy? Natsu questioned. I can't move. Lucy replied. I plucked a hair when I was chasing you. Kane said and held up a cursed doll. Oh, no. Through your hair, you and Mr. Kersey are now one and the same. Now you are my puppet. Kane stretched the doll and Lucy did the same thing. This will be payback for earlier. Kane suddenly dropped the doll as a hand was stabbing through his chest while holding onto a beating heart with black tentacles around it. So that doll is your magic, and your element what is it, Earth? I have no need for it. A deep voice said from behind Kane and the hand crushed the heart completely. Kane fell over dead. All you have that's worth to me, is your bounty. When Kane fell down Itachi widened his eyes. Kakuzu. Itachi stared in surprise at seeing another former member of the Akatsuki. Itachi. It's been a while. To be honest I was hoping not to run into you, but this guy has a bounty on his head which I'm claiming. Kakuzu said and glared at Itachi and then looked over to Natsu, Lucy and Happy. So, are those members of your guild? Fairy tale. Sasori told me all about you and your guild. Wait, Sasori. But I killed him back during the Nirvana incident. Itachi widened his eyes in shock at hearing the news of the puppet master's survival. I don't have time to explain it in detail. Let's just say he was only there to test your abilities and that when you killed him we managed to revive him through special means. Kakuzu said and then eyed Natsu. You're Natsu Dragneel, the salamander correct? What of it? Natsu got into his fighting stance. Then I will be claiming your bounty as well. You're a wanted man in the underworld. Seems people are angry at all the destruction you've caused for dark guilds. Kakuzu said as tentacles sprouted out from his arms. Creepy. Lucy got shivers down her spine. Natsu, Lucy, Happy. Get away from him right now. Itachi shouted as they looked at him in confusion. Too late. Kakuzu shouted as his hands flew towards them. They were attached to his body with the tentacles. Kakuzu grabbed both Natsu and Lucy by the throat. Lucy Heartfilia, I might make some money from you as well. Bastard. Natsu grunted and released a ton of fire around his body trying to burn off Kakuzu's hand. No use. I have hardened my body. Your flames won't work, Kakuzu said when suddenly the tentacles connected to the hands were cut off by Itachi who held a kunai with lightning flickering around it. Natsu and Lucy dropped to the ground and Itachi ripped Kakuzu's hands off from their throats. I'm your opponent, Itachi declared. No way. I'm taking this guy on for myself. He tried to kill me and Lucy just now, he's gonna pay. Natsu declared. Itachi looked at Natsu and sighed seeing as there was no getting to him. Fine, we will take him together. Itachi declared and they both faced Kakuzu. I'm all fired up now. Natsu grinned widely as flames erupted around his body. Okay Natsu, listen, if you're going to fight this guy you need to pay close attention. This guy has more battle experience than both you and me, Itachi said as he eyed Kakuzu, who was trying to find an opening through Itachi's guard. What do you mean? Natsu questioned. You see those masks on his back? Itachi said, making Natsu, Lucy and Happy focus on the masks on his back. What are those masks for anyway? Decoration? Happy questioned. Each one of them contains an extra heart he has stolen from others. Itachi replied. What? Lucy questioned, looking creeped out. With this he extends his lifespan and every time his hearts gives out, he finds new ones. He has 5 hearts in total and he won't go down until we take out all of them. What's more, once he takes a person's heart he's able to use their nature energies, and I'm guessing their magic as well. Itachi informed his teammates about this and Lucy and Happy looked at Kakuzu like he was a monster, while Natsu got angry over the fact that this guy kills people and steals their hearts. Are you done filling them in? Kakuzu said with his arms folded. How do you even know this guy? Natsu questioned. Yeah, how do you know him? Lucy questioned. I will tell you all the full story another time, for now just focus on taking him down. Itachi replied as he did know that the day would come when he would need to reveal his past. He had decided to maybe let Erza find out first, then the rest of them. Tell me Itachi, before we begin, is it true what Sasori said, that Hidan's here as well? Kakuzu asked. Hidan. That guy from the Tower of Heaven. Happy remembered the immortal man they encountered in the Tower of Heaven. He was freaky. Yes, I sliced his head off and threw it in the ocean, and burned his body to a crisp. Itachi replied. Hey, at least that religious bastard won't bother me anymore. Tell me, did you manage to do it because he was praying again? Kakuzu asked mockingly. Itachi narrowed his eyes. Oh well, like I said, I have no interest in fighting you. But it seems it's unavoidable right now. I will take those 2 friends of yours and collect their bounty, same with the members of Grimoire Heart. Kakuzu stretched out his tentacles to put his hands back. Kakuzu then formed a set of hand seals and one of the masks with several black tentacles attached to the back of it. The mask had red markings on it, it stretched out over Kakuzu's shoulder and faced the fairy tail group, and it opened its mouth. Fire style. Intelligent hard work. The mask released a massive wave of fire towards Itachi, Lucy, Happy and Natsu, who smirked. Natsu jumped in front of the flames and inhaled his breath as he began devouring the flames. Thanks for the grub. Natsu rubbed his arm over his mouth. So, the rumors are true, you do eat fire. That's why I used a low amount of chakra in that attack to find out for myself. Kakuzu said and narrowed his gaze. Quit your yapping and let's go. Natsu charged with his fists covered in fire. Kakuzu swiftly dodged Natsu's punch. Natsu then swung his leg with his foot covered in fire towards Kakuzu's face. Kakuzu tilted his head back and dodged the kick. Kakuzu's skin then darkened and he punched Natsu in the gut, making the Dragon Slayer vomit blood as he was sent flying into a tree. Kakuzu stretched his arm out with the tentacles. He grabbed Natsu by the leg and swung him into a mountainside. He pulled Natsu out, raised him high up in the air and slammed him into the ground. Natsu! Lucy shouted and brought out a golden key. Open gate of the golden bull. Taurus. Lucy summoned forth the big cow spirit wielding a battle axe. Moo. Lucy, as always you've got a smokin' hot body. Taurus looked at Lucy with a lustful gaze. Shut it, you perverted bull. Just go and help Natsu. Lucy pointed at Kakuzu. Moo. As you wish. Taurus charged at Kakuzu with his battle axe raised. Kakuzu narrowed his gaze and had his other arm darken its skin. He quickly blocked the axe with his arm. Moo. Kakuzu pushed Taurus back and slammed his foot into his gut. Taurus looked like his eyes were about to pop out as he was sent flying back. Celestial spirits, even Zodiac. I hear they're quite valuable, might give me quite the shiny penny. Kakuzu narrowed his eyes and with a smirk underneath his mask. Forgive me, Lucy. This guy's too strong, Taurus uttered before he vanished in a flash of light. Taurus. Damn, open gate of the archer. Sagittarius. Lucy swung another golden key and out came a man dressed in a horse costume carrying a bow. You called. Hello. Sagittarius greeted in a salute. Shoot that creep. Lucy ordered. Right away. Hello. Sagittarius directed his bow with 3 arrows on it and shot them at Kakuzu, but the arrows simply bounced off of him. What the? Hello. Don't bother, Kakuzu has the ability to harden his skin. Attacks like that won't work on him. Itachi informed as he charged directly at Kakuzu. Kakuzu swung his fist towards Itachi, who ducked and delivered a kick that Kakuzu blocked with his arm. Itachi then leapt back and formed hand seals. Chidori stream. Itachi slammed his hand on the ground and sent a wave of lightning at Kakuzu. Arg. Kakuzu grunted in pain as he was electrocuted. Your hardening ability is Earth style. Earth is weak to lightning. Itachi said with a cold gaze. Fire Dragon. Wing attack. Natsu appeared behind Kakuzu and swung his arms at him with his arms covered in flames that took the shape of wings. Kakuzu turned around as he was slammed by the fire wings and sent skidding back. Fire Dragon. Sword Horn. Natsu charged into Kakuzu like a rocket with his body covered in fire. He crashed right into Kakuzu, who grabbed a hold of Natsu. Kakuzu skidded back from the force of Natsu's attack, dragging up the earth. Kakuzu then lifted Natsu and threw him to the side. Water style. Raging Typhoon. Another mask stretched over Kakuzu's shoulder and released a raging wave of water at Natsu. Happy then swooped in and picked up Natsu, avoiding the water. Sagittarius, your services are done. Lucy said. Sorry I couldn't be of more help. Hello. Sagittarius saluted and vanished in a flash of light. Lucy brought out another golden key and placed it in a water puddle left from Kakuzu's attack. Open gate of the water bearer. Aquarius. Lucy summoned forth the blue-haired blue fish-tailed mermaid. Okay, send him away. Lucy pointed at Kakuzu. TCH. We don't have time for this. Lucy shouted. Shut it, you little twerp. How many times do we have to go over the times you can summon me, huh? You interrupted me when I was on a date with my boyfriend. Aquarius scolded. Seems you have a lot of zodiac spirits, little girl. Once I kill you they will give me a lot of money on the black market. Kakuzu said, making Aquarius angrier. Huh, you think you can sell me, you shit. Aquarius raised her urn and then swung it towards Kakuzu, sending a wave of water at him. HN. Kakuzu leapt up and concentrated chakra to his feet and stood on a mountainside. He then formed a set of hand seals. Lightning style. False darkness. Another mask stretched out and blasted a wave of lightning at the water. sending an electric stream towards Aquarius, electrocuting her. Ard. Aquarius screamed in pain as she vanished in a flash of light. No way. Even Aquarius. Lucy screamed in shock. I've had enough of these games. Kakuzu declared. The masks began bulging around his back, outburst different beast-like figures with the masks on them. Suddenly it began to rain. This rain, Juvia. Itachi thought as he looked through one of his crows, seeing that Juvia looked angry as she was fighting Melody, and Erza looking shocked at Juvia's power. Let me guess. She threatened to harm Gray. Either way it has something to do with Gray. Itachi thought and formed a hand seal as he focused on Kakuzu. Wood style. Wood dragon. Itachi had a wood dragon pop out from the mountainside and wrapped around Kakuzu, who looked at Itachi. Wood style. This takes me back to my fight with Hashirama. The only difference is that yours is significantly weaker. Kakuzu said as the wire mask directed at himself. Explosion magic. Micro bomb. The fire mask beast released a small shiny light that surrounded the wood dragon and blew up around it. The wood dragon then shattered into several pieces. Hey, like you said, I don't only get nature energies but the magic the former wielders of the hearts had as well. Kakuzu said and the water mask appeared behind them. Gravity magic. Pressure dome. A large dome of gravity formed around Itachi, Natsu, Lucy and Happy, forcing them all to the ground. I can't move. Lucy uttered weakly. Neither can I, Happy said. Damn it. Natsu tried to get up but was pushed back down. Itachi was on one knee as he struggled to get up. In the end he managed to stand up. Wind style. Pressure damage. The wind mask sent a massive tornado-like mass towards Itachi, who activated his Susanoo and formed the Yata mirror to block the wind attack. Once Itachi was in the Susanoo, the gravity magic had no effect on him. The Yata mirror reflected the attack towards Kakuzu, who was sent crashing into the mountain, making a large hole in the mountain wall. Itachi then went over to Lucy, Natsu and Happy and covered them with the Susanoo, giving them the ability to stand up. Kakuzu crawled out from the hole and glared at them while they were in the gravity dome. Lucy used Virgo to get behind one of the masks so that Natsu can deal a finishing blow. We have to take out his hearts. Itachi said. Right. Open gate of the maiden. Virgo. Lucy summoned a cute pink-haired maid. Is it time for punishment, princess? Would you stop that? Lucy sweat dropped. Anyway, you see those black figures with the masks? Dig a hole so that Natsu can sneak up behind one. Lucy ordered. Right away, princess. Virgo bowed and drilled through the ground and Natsu leapt down after her. A hole opened in a mountainside behind the fire mask. Natsu then leapt at it with a fiery fist. Fire dragon. Iron fist. Natsu slammed his fist into the black beast, who turned around. Natsu's fist smacked into the mask, crushing it into pieces and burning the heart behind it. Kakuzu grunted in pain as one of his hearts were destroyed. Little punk. Kakuzu growled as Natsu directed towards him. Fire dragon. Roar. Natsu spit out a massive wave of fire towards Kakuzu. Kakuzu leapt away from the fire before it crashed into the mountainside where he stood. Iron make. Needle hammer. The lightning mask formed a magic circle. Out came a massive heavy metal spiked ball attached to chains, which flew towards Natsu. Out of the hole Virgo dug came Itachi, who grabbed the iron spiked ball with a spectral red skeleton Susanoo hand that threw it to the side. Amaterasu. The lightning masked beast was instantly engulfed in black flames, burning it slowly to ash. Ard. Kakuzu grunted in pain as he felt the black flames burning the heart in the lightning mask away. Kakuzu glared at them as they had all escaped the gravity dome and 2 out of his 5 hearts were destroyed. Not yet. You won't finish me yet. Kakuzu threw a small ball to the ground that exploded, sending out a blinding light. Damn it. Natsu grunted as when the light faded, Kakuzu was nowhere to be seen, neither was Kane's body. He's gone. He wanted to make sure he got away with his precious bounty. He hasn't left yet though. We will most likely see him again. As long as there is money for him to make here, he won't leave. Itachi said. Now what? Lucy questioned. We should return to Wendy and the master. Natsu said. My clone took them to the base camp. You go there, I will go after Ultear and Zirf. Itachi said, and they all nodded and they walked their separate ways. Itachi left from tree branch to tree branch as it was still raining. With Kakuzu put down the body of Kane on a boat that had one large sail. He placed the body next to the body of Rusty Rosé. Let's see. Out of the 7 kin, the ones with the highest bounty is Ultear, Azuma, Zancro, Capricorn, and the lowest is Melody. Capricorn doesn't seem to be here anymore. I can't sense his presence. Did the fairy tale guild kill him? In that case it's going to be troublesome searching for the body. Guess I should forget about him and focus on Ultear, Azuma and Zancro for now. Then go after the big fish, Hades. But first I need to gather new hearts. Maybe from 2 of the 7 kin will do, they do have powerful magic. Kakuzu said and went back to search for the bounties. Natsu, Lucy and Happy ran towards the camp. I'm worried about Kana. Where could she have wandered off to? Lucy questioned. I hope she's at the camp. Happy said. Natsu suddenly stopped. Someone's there. Seeing a man walking towards them, he was releasing a ton of magic pressure. This magic power, it's huge. Lucy said with wide eyes of fear. I'm getting a tingling sensation all over, Happy uttered. Who are you? Natsu questioned. Tell me, can you fly? No, I guess you still can't. The man raised his hand as the rain stopped and the raindrops floated around them. Fall. The man uttered as the rain fell down and the ground tore up as Natsu, Lucy and Happy fell to the ground from the pressure. Not this again, Happy uttered. Natsu gazed at the tall muscular man with long black hair gathered into a ponytail that reached to his lower back. He had sideburns and a stubby beard. He wore a long-sleeved white cloth that reached to his legs. Under the cloth he wore a dark shirt with a high, round collar. He had dark baggy pants which is tucked inside a pair of light-colored boots. With Erza in front of Erza was Azuma who was sticking out from a tree. They felt the massive pressure released from the man Natsu and Lucy were facing. What is this magic power? Erza questioned. It seems Bluenote has arrived. Azuma said. The war is over. All life on this island is as good as gone. Back with Natsu, Lucy and Happy. Personally, I don't really care about Fairy Tail or Zirf. But there is one thing that I want. Where is the grave of Mavis Vermilion, Fairy Tail's first master? Bluenote interrogated. With Itachi, this pressure, it's coming from the direction Natsu, Lucy and Happy went. It can't be a member of the 7 kin, and it's too weak to be Hades, then who is it? Itachi questioned. He looked in the direction Ultear went, and back at the direction Natsu, Lucy and Happy went to. I need to get to Zirf and Ultear. There is something I need to know from both of them, but Natsu and Lucy alone are not enough for that power I'm feeling. Itachi thought. It's also too weak to be Kakuzu. Did Grimoire Heart bring extra muscle? Itachi questioned. What should I do? This might be the only chance I get to get some answers, but I can't abandon my friends. Itachi clenched his fist and a crow landed on his shoulder. Go find Zirf and Ultear, follow them if they leave the island and stay on them as long as you can. Itachi ordered the crow that flew off. Itachi then leapt back to where Natsu, Lucy and Happy were. Meanwhile, Bluenote approached Natsu, Happy and Lucy who were on the ground. Tell me where the grave of Mavis is. Bluenote demanded when suddenly a foot swung down, slamming onto his forehead sending him crashing to the ground. You want to find Mavis's grave? Sorry. Fairy Tail members only. Itachi said with his Sharingan glowing bright red. I was knocked down. How is that possible? Bluenote questioned in shock. I need to save my strength for Kakuzu and Hades, luckily I have one last chakra replenishing pill. Itachi thought and faced the tall man. Bluenote raised his arms as the gravity increased yet Itachi managed to stand. Is that it? Kakuzu's was more powerful than this. Itachi said and formed a spectral ribcage that grew into a skeleton then a humanoid. The Susanoo swung its fist into Bluenote sending him skidding back. Itachi's Susanoo then grew armor and formed a sword. Itachi fell to his knees as the Susanoo faded. No way, I've used up too much of my chakra. That and my body still hasn't fully recovered from that incident when I used that dark energy to fight Azuma. Guess you've already exhausted yourself from a previous battle, such a shame. Bluenote looked down on Itachi. Is it you? Kana's voice was heard shouting. They all looked towards the source and spotted the guild's best drinker. Kana, Lucy said in relief. Don't you dare hurt my friends any longer. Kana threw some magic cards at Bluenote, he simply deflected them by just raising his hand. Then suddenly her arm began to glow. Fairy, what is that magic? Happy questioned. Bluenote quickly stopped her by using gravity magic to slam her to the ground. That magic you're wielding, fairy glitter. Lucy, sorry for ditching you. It was inexcusable of me. I'm really sorry. But trust me now, if I can just hit him with this spell, it will defeat him. Kana declared. Wow. Did you get it at the grave? Lucy said. Wah. If you visited the grave, does that mean? Oh, man, don't tell me the trial. Natsu began sulking. Could we save this for later? I need your help to beat this guy, Natsu, Itachi. Keep him busy while I gather magic power. Bluenote raised his arms to the side and blasted Kana and Natsu back. No one can move under the force of my gravity. Bluenote increased the power of the gravity. Never did I imagine the spell I was searching for would so casually come to me. Fairy glitter, that spell is mine now. Only members of our guild can use this spell, none of you guys can use it. Kana declared. Tracing the origin of sorcery, it's believed that it all began from a single type of magic. All manners of magic were originally one and the same. Bluenote said as everyone besides Itachi, who was on his knees, were on the ground. Those who approach the abyss of sorcery are capable of mastering any type of magic. Bluenote raised Kana in the air with the gravity magic and began squeezing her. Kana! Lucy shouted. HN. Itachi appeared behind Bluenote and slammed his fist into his back, and then sent a surge of lightning through his fist, electrocuting him. Ah, you annoying scum! Bluenote shouted as a spectral Susanoo fist slammed him over his head, sending him crashing to the ground. Now Kana! Itachi shouted while the Susanoo hand held Bluenote down. Assemble, O river of light guided by fairies! Kana chanted and a lot of light was released into the sky. Shine. To destroy the fangs of wickedness. A large golden ring of magic formed in the sky. Itachi jumped back from Bluenote. Fairy glitter. The ring of light gathered around Bluenote, making him unable to move. Begone! Kana shouted as Bluenote screamed in pain. Fall. The light shined but Bluenote broke free. You consider this enough skill to use fairy glitter? Don't make me laugh. Bluenote turned to Itachi, who he considered his only threat at this point. Unlike this piece of trash, you're actually a challenge. I will kill her and I will make you watch. I knew that Kana couldn't do it, but I only used this as an opportunity to stall you, for him. Itachi smirked as Bluenote turned around and was blasted back by Gildarts, who glared at him in rage, with veins bulging around his forehead. Kana looked at her father with a teary expression. Gildarts! Natsu shouted and Happy danced. I leave this guy to you, Gildarts, Itachi said as he vanished in a murder of crows. Meanwhile with Itachi was jumping from tree branch to tree branch. Luckily, I sensed Gildarts approaching them. It was best to send that clone with 30% of my full power. I should take this pill now. Itachi reached in his pocket and took the last chakra pill. Itachi thought, Erza has confronted Azuma, it seems. She is stronger than him even if he's at full power. Now that he is injured, meaning Erza can take him on without my help. Itachi said, when suddenly the Tenro tree fell, a tree which gave members of Fairy Tail more magic power. Itachi could feel all his Ethernano vanishing while his chakra remained. With Erza and Azuma had fought an immense battle in the center area of the Tenro tree. Now Titania, your friends are on the verge of death. Only you can save them. Now show me just how powerful you really are. Azuma demanded. Azuma of the Seven Kin, was it? Why have you done this? Erza questioned. Master Hades' orders were to eliminate every last fairy tale wizard. Azuma said. No. Why have you left only me able-bodied? Erza questioned. I told you. I wish to fight you in a serious battle. That's all. Azuma said. If you didn't speak in falsehood, then I expect you to return everyone's power upon your defeat. Erza demanded. You have my word. I'm not fond of these methods, either. Of course, only if you can defeat me. Azuma widened his eyes. Erza re-equipped into her clear hearth clothing armor and then she focused her energy. Bring out the power and merge it. Flashback, I'm going to teach you to make your blades more powerful. After having determined that Ethernano has the same ability as chakra when it comes to this, I will teach you how to merge your Ethernano with your sword. Like how I do this with my chakra. Itachi said, holding up the katana Erza made for him. He focused his chakra into the katana and a blue light formed around it. He then swung the blade at a large rock and it got sliced in half. Okay. Focus out your Ethernano into your sword now and try to give it shape. Okay. A little Erza said while holding her own katana sword. She let out a deep breath and focused her Ethernano as a red energy formed around her sword, but then it got unbalanced and blew out, sending Erza flying back. Ow. Try again, Itachi ordered. Erza tried for hours, days and weeks. When one day she finally did it. Her katana had a beautiful flow of red energy around it. She swung it down and it sent a shockwave that cut a giant rock in half. She looked at Itachi with a beaming smile. Well done, Erza. I'm proud of you. Itachi patted Erza on the head. Flashback, and Erza focused a red aura around her body and around her katana sword. Ethernano blade. Erza charged towards Azuma, who swung his arm to the side, sending tree roots at her. Erza cut through all of them with ease. Ramus Sika. Azuma sent a barrage of sharp fast-moving branches. Erza brought out a second sword and cut through all the branches using the swords bathed in red energy. Azuma sent a wave of explosives at Erza. She re-equipped into her adamantine armor, blocking the explosions with her shield. She then re-equipped into her flight armor and charged at Azuma at high speed, crashing into him. Such swiftness. I take it that's your flight armor. Azuma said as Erza kept striking him at high speed. Azuma directed his hand as the tree branches charged at Erza, striking her. Then a large foot made out of tree branches stomped onto her. Erza cut through it with her blades infused with the red energy. Good. You're infusing your Eternano into your swords to make them more powerful. Azuma merged with the tree and popped out from the one behind Erza, sending another barrage of tree branches. Erza re-equipped into her purgatory armor. She focused her energy into the massive sword, making it more powerful than usual. She sliced through all of the tree branches, but Azuma popped out from the tree root below her and grabbed her by the legs. You left yourself open below. Tower burst. Azuma created a massive pillar of fire. Erza's armor was almost blown off and she was covered in bruise marks. She then re-equipped back into her clear hearth clothing armor as she struggled to get back up. She focused her magic aura into the katana blade. I will end this in one strike. Erza gathered as much power as possible into her katana and charged at Azuma. Erza charged at high speed towards Azuma, who tried to defend by sending several tree branches towards her, but Erza cut through them with ease. Azuma was about to raise his arms, but a shockwave of energy sliced the tree roots around his broken right arm and tore it apart, revealing the crushed arm. Azuma held his left hand over his crushed wrist in pain. Erza was right in front of him with her katana raised with the red aura. Well done. Azuma smiled as Erza cut him across the chest, defeating him. Erza fell to her knees, sweating and shaking as she had used up a lot of her magic. She looked at Azuma, who began to merge with the tree. I'll honor our promise. Everyone's magic power shall return to normal. Azuma said as roots grew out from his body. Why do you people so intently seek Zirf? Erza questioned. To grow closer to primordial magic, magic from the world's inception. I suppose, Azuma said. Primordial? Erza questioned. And what happens if you manage to reach it? Azuma didn't respond as his body turned into a tree. With Itachi felt his magic return to him. Well done, Erza. Itachi thought as he looked through his crow to find Ultear. She was bragging to Melody on how she fooled Gray into going to fight Hades, and convinced him to use Ice Shell, the same spell Gray's master Ul used against Deliora. Melody had carried an unconscious Juvia and Ultear was about to strike her with a sword when suddenly it was blocked with ice. Looks like Gray saw right through her lies. Itachi smiled. With Kakuzu, so far no sign of Capricorn, and Azuma seemed to have turned his body into a tree. Only 3 of the 7 kin I can gather then. Kakuzu said. Kakuzu then sensed a familiar presence of magic. This magic power, Zirf, he was here. Kakuzu walked towards the source and discovered the body of Zancro. This must be my lucky day. He walked up to Zancro and picked up his body. He stabbed his hand into his chest and pulled out Zancro's heart. Luckily I can make it beat again. Kakuzu stuck some black tentacles into it and the heart started beating. He then placed it into his chest, which created a new fire mask. With Itachi. Itachi arrived after the aftermath of the battle, where Gray had managed to defeat Ultear and was now pulling her out of the water. Itachi jumped down and walked over to them. Itachi. Gray questioned. She changed her ways. She's not our enemy anymore, right? Gray asked and looked down on Ultear, who was crying and had a 2-tomo Sharingan in her eyes. Now there was no doubt in Itachi's mind. She had awoken them after seeing the memories of her mother. She saw this when she was in the ocean. Yeah, I'm so sorry for everything, Ultear bowed. Where's Zirf? Itachi questioned. That little girl took him. Juvia chased after her. Gray replied. So he's still on the island. Good. Itachi turned to Ultear. Answer my question from earlier. Who was your father? Itachi narrowed his gaze as he was hoping it wasn't someone evil that had been brought back. Why does it matter? Ultear questioned. Because you have the eyes of my family, so your father must have been from my clan. Now tell me, who is he? Itachi raised his voice a little. Hey, yeah, she does have Sharingan, I can see it. Only that it has 2 of those tomos and not 3. Gray said, having just noticed. So, tell me who's your father? Itachi grabbed her by the collar. Tell me, now. I never met him. Ultear uttered. Ul must at least have mentioned his name to you once, now tell me his name. Itachi grew frustrated. Was this Uchiha dangerous, or good? Give me his name. Madara. Ultear shouted. It's Madara. Madara. Who's that? Itachi. Gray looked at Itachi and widened his eyes in shock as he saw something he has never seen before. Itachi was shaking. Wide eyes. He was sweating. He was afraid. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. The next episode will be out soon.